Hey there, cross trainers. In the church, we are currently in the season of Advent. Now, for some of you, you may not even be familiar with what that means, and so don't click off this video. It's okay. You don't need to. Let me give you a little bit of a background of what that means. Advent comes from a Latin word that means coming. And what it refers to is it is a time where the church looks back at Jesus coming. His coming as a baby, which is what we celebrate during the Christmas season. But it's also looking forward to his second coming, the time when he will come as king and he will do the work of restoration of all that is broken, of all that needs fixed. And so as the church, we take 4 Sundays before Christmas. That's when it's celebrated. The 4 Sundays before Christmas, we look and we wait. It's really a time of remembrance of Jesus coming, of all the prophets' predictions that he would come, of all the predictions that he will come. And it's a time of anticipation of the Messiah, Jesus, coming again, and all that he promises to do when he does. That's Advent. And so I want us to do some cross-training, Advent cross-training here in these next few weeks. And so to do that, I want to go with you to the passage you repped out 3 times, Job chapter 2. And that may seem like a really strange passage to go to, but let's look at it. Where we pick it up at is Satan leaves the presence of God. And all that means is Satan's going to work. He just clicked the time clock. And where he's working, the site he's working on is Job. He's been working on him already. In fact, Satan went to God and said, you know what? Job is only serving you. He only loves you. He's only in a relationship with you because of the benefits you give him. He's a wealthy man. He has a lot of family. He's healthy. You know, take those things away from him and there will be no relationship with you. And God allows Satan to do that. And so far in this story, Satan has gone to work and he's taken away Job's wealth, his animals, his servants. He's taken away Job's kids, his family. And now he goes to work to attack his health. And that's what we find he does. Job receives sores, loathsome sores. Sores he doesn't want, sores he's not thankful for. They're miserable. It's causing agony, and they're from his head to his toes. And we hear that they're most likely painfully itchy, because what he does is he takes a piece of broken pottery and scrapes them. Probably not the most sanitary way to deal with them, right? Not CDC approved. But he's scraping his skin. And listen to where he's doing that at. While sitting in the ashes. What's that? See, in that day, when people were mourning deeply, when they were grieving, they would pour ashes on their head. He's pouring ashes from his head to his toes. He's sitting in that deep grief. That's what he's doing. And that's when his wife comes up. Now, it's really interesting that Satan did not take Job's wife, right? You think that would be someone that he would want to knock out and hurt Job more. But we find here, she's not the most encouraging person in Job's life. In fact, she goes to work on Satan's behalf. Let me explain what I mean. She comes to Job and is just like, why do you hold fast to your integrity? Why are you still claiming to be that man who follows God, who loves God, who's in a relationship with God? It's ridiculous. Like, just curse God and die. That's probably why Satan doesn't whack her, right? Because this is the reality, is she is doing his work. She's trying to get him to do what Satan wants him to do, which is curse God and die. Be done with it. And Job's response is so absolutely classic and good. He says to his wife, man, you're speaking like foolish women. That's what you're doing. Because can't we just receive the good of God? Is that all we're called to do? We can't just receive the good and not the bad. We got to receive both because God is sovereign over both. He rules over both. And we're told that Job does not sin with his lips in saying this, meaning it's true. And so Job, he remains with his integrity. He's a man of his word. He still follows God. He still trusts God. He's still in a relationship with God. In the good and the not good. In the receiving and in the losses. Now, what does this have to do with us in Advent? You see, in 2020, there's been losses. There are losses. And the reality of our living, of our days, is each day we grow older, there's more and more losses that we accumulate. Often it's not like Job where it's like all of a sudden all gone, but it's a gradual, slow loss process until we die. We face losses, and the question during Advent, during this time leading up to Christmas, Jesus coming as a baby and coming as a king, how will you position yourself when you face those losses? I encourage you, like Job, grieve. Grieve deeply. Being a follower of Jesus is never just being so strong that you can handle any loss without grief. That's not a true disciple. In fact, that's you trying to be strong instead of resting in the strength we find in Jesus. We grieve. In fact, Paul says we grieve like the rest of men. But the way we don't grieve like the rest of men is we have hope. We don't grieve like the rest of men who have no hope, but we do grieve. And so in this Advent season, one of remembrance and of anticipation, this is what I ask. When you face loss this week, this day, how will you posture yourself? Where will you position yourself? I ask you to face the loss like Job, scraping his wounds while sitting in ashes and grieving. But that's not where it ends. I think Job is waiting on God. He's not moving. If this is the God who gives and this is the God who takes away, I'm going to wait on him. Not expecting him to change my losses, like I can't go back in time, but trusting him in the losses. Let me close by reading something from Gerald Sitzer. This is what he says. Catastrophic loss, by definition, precludes recovery. It will transform us or destroy us, but it will never leave us the same. There is no going back to the past. It is not therefore true that we become less through loss unless we allow the loss to make us less, grinding our soul down until there is nothing left. Loss can also make us more. As you sit in your loss today, this week, wait and remember. Wait and anticipate. Wait and allow God to do some restoration work on your heart, making you more of his child, more as his son or daughter, more in his love, more in his promises. Blessings.